Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for everyone's favorite segment, and it is a very special Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of it makes me sick thinking about it the week. So
This just
we all know
in, we
that
have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
But someone else that Meltzer also fears is a friend of the show, Alfred Konuwa, Pro Wrestling Bits, who put together this compilation video, I believe, of shorts and just him chronicling the dark truth about 5-star matches and Dave Meltzer's deadly impact on the pro wrestling industry. And this is a great 16-minute on the nose video of how Dave Meltzer's influence has changed and ruined pro wrestling for the worst. And we've chronicled this ad nauseum on the show. We see Dave Meltzer praising Kenny Omega still in matches like him versus Gabe Kidd and him going, well, Kenny's really working that slower style, as Roman Reigns would call it and the Bloodline would call it top guy speed, right? And so Alfred Konuwa will actually be on PWT tonight, this evening. Time Cop, by the time you hear this on replay and on PWT podcast. But I've been wanting to play this for a while and watch it with you guys, right? And so, Will Ospreay now is the next victim who he's getting neck surgery and he might have, and now Dave's begging him, he's like, Brian, Will Ospreay really needs to be working that top guy style, a slower pace. He could do it better than anyone in the world.
Guys, Tony Khan.
So then, Dave, you're admitting you just grade stars based on flips, and because those guys, you're saying he could do it better than anyone in the world. He can't. He can't do WWE style better than anyone in the world. He can't. I'm sorry. He doesn't sell good enough, and he doesn't understand the psychology well enough. But let's say that is the case. So you're admitting that you would give that style 5 stars just if like Will Ospreay does it. And we've seen it. He gives Omega a ton of stars too. It's just star merchant. And he has a select chosen guys and he has his certain guys and his certain feds that he knows he's going to give 1 billion stars to. It's premeditated. It doesn't matter what a match does. He knows what he's going to give, like a Monet match or whatever, stars wise. I've broken down how he doesn't even really rank these matches based on the overall history of wrestling. He based it on, like, on this show, I know I'm going to give this match the best rating, this match the lowest rating, and then everything in there, I'm going to just like judge it based on my preferences and then give them stars based on this event alone. Right. I've broken that down as well. Like Dave, he can't keep track of his own stars. It's impossible. It's just a redacted concept to begin with. But either way, though, like people now, Kyle Fletcher, thank God Kyle Fletcher's like, I love the Miz and like that, because Meltzer's just throwing stars at this kid and saying he's next up. And we know, I pray to God I pray to God for the New Day, but I also pray to God that Fletcher doesn't listen to Dave, idiot, because he'll end up like an Ospreay, like an Omega. And I want to see Fletcher one day maybe be a big star in WWE or something like that. He has the potential to do that. He has the look to do that. But if he listens to Dave Meltzer, he's not going to. And so I'm really grateful when I hear things like, oh, Fletcher's into the Miz. It's like, okay, good. Thank God. Because this guy, if Omega and Ospreay in history repeats itself with Fletcher, then this guy's going to end up like Ospreay, right? 30 whatever neck surgeries. Dave's begging him to work a Roman Reigns style now. Why didn't you do that in the beginning if he can do it so good? That's what you should be advocating. Wrestling's about not really hurting each other and putting on a show. But you, Dave, really want to see them hurt each other for your entertainment. So you clap and like a baby with keys being jingled in front of them. Oh my God. Oh, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, Brian.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So shout out Alfred Konuwa, shout out Forbes, shout out Pro Wrestling Bits. Here is
the 5-star match is the gold.
This is the dark truth about Dave Meltzer.
Standard among subredditors. The hardcore wrestling designation, often awarded to underground matches and renegade promotions, is meaningless and completely subjective. If you wrestle in AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, or you're a 5-star merchant like Will Ospreay or...
You're saying sickos are calling Alfred that Forbes guy who loves WWE. Yeah, who gives a shit? So what about that ESPN guy who loves AEW? Stop coping. And here's the thing, man. Tony Khan and Dave Meltzer tried to discredit Alfred. And that's the thing, man. Tony Khan literally quoted Alfred when Alfred was putting over how good AEW was the first 2 years. He used quotes from Alfred in their fucking commercials, television commercials. Now, all of a sudden, the Fast Nationals are coming out, and they love the Fast Nationals when fucking they made AEW look good. But then they're coming out and it makes AEW look bad. And now Alfred's not a legit source and he doesn't actually get numbers and he's a fraud and he's just a shill. They lock him out of their fucking, their media thing, their media cache where like the media can go to pull pictures for websites for writing articles and shit, which means they have to change the whole fucking password for Big Alfie. Come on now. That's some bullshit, man. They're just petty little bitches.
Kenny Omega, 5-star rating is all but guaranteed. Star ratings are championed by Dave Meltzer, who turns 200 this year. Like Dave, they've been around forever. So they've
turns
cultivated
200
an
this year?
underground following. Also like Dave, the star rating system has overstayed its welcome, leaving a trail of internet darlings in its wake, broken, injured, paralyzed, and in some cases, deceased.
And like with Danielson, boom. Him too, man. It's that indie Meltzer.
Today, we're going to talk about the undeniable damage that the 5-star match has had on countless wrestlers and why Dave Meltzer's fetishizing of strong style has had a negative and sometimes deadly impact on the physical well-being of some of his favorite wrestlers. Subscribe in Creole. The 5-star match has no criteria. It is not an objective rating, let alone a rating at all. It's just 5-star glazing. Getting 5 stars in the Observer just means Dave Meltzer has an unhealthy crush on you. If you run fast enough, jump high enough, hit hard enough, and most importantly, drop your opponent on their head and neck to the point of potential.
I've owned a couple sickos with one key line when discussing Ospreay, and I'm an Ospreay fan. And notice too that when I started saying this, I don't know, maybe Dave's listening. I don't fucking know. I know he knows about flutes and shit. I know he got all triggered when Marie Shadows, like he got triggered at Marie Shadows. She came on the show and stuff. Like right around then. Is that a coincidence? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I know she emailed him around then and stuff, but it's just like, I think it's a little too coincidental, but he stopped glazing Nathan Frazier as hard. And Nathan Frazier also made fun of Dave publicly. Or he's like rare Dave Meltzer W when he gave Frazier like 5 stars or whatever. And he just doesn't really glaze Nathan Frazier that hard anymore. And I owned a few sickos online with that sentiment, like people saying like Ospreay's the best in the world. No one in WWE can do what Ospreay does. And I just go, Nathan Frazier can do everything, but faster. Tell that to a sicko. Watch them try and bury Frazier. They won't do it. They just immediately retreat because they know it's true. Frazier can do everything Ospreay can do, just faster. And that's why Ospreay's a dumbass, because Frazier needs to do that shit because he's a smaller dude. Ospreay actually has some size. Like he could do really good fucking pro wrestling at the highest level if he really applied himself anyways. Or he can just drop people on their necks. And anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. That's why they say don't try this at home. You ever pick up your little brother or little cousin, drop them on their neck? Everyone's done that if you have a younger sibling or family member. You know what I mean? Anyone can do that.
Potentially career-ending injury, you will be a strong candidate for a 5-star match. It helps if you're white or Japanese. Objectively, most 5-star matches are great. Subjectively, they serve as a low-rent marketing machine for Dave Meltzer to brainwash his audience about what real wrestling is. Real wrestling isn't an all-black match because no exclusively black match has ever received a 5-star rating dating back to 1982. In fact, the list of black wrestlers to receive 5-star ratings is shorter than Brian Alvarez. That actually makes me happy because most 5-star merchants end up a physical mess. I'd never wish that on anybody, but I especially don't want to see my people bound to wheelchairs because their knees gave out while chasing a fucking shape. Except Ricochet. I hope he ends up in a wheelchair.
Oh, no.
I'm just playing Twitter, Ricky. You know we tolerate you. Swerve Strickland, who is one of the few black wrestlers to ever receive a 5-star rating. And now that nigga's on the shelf with a serious knee injury. Get well soon. British wrestler Michael Oku received a 5-star rating, if nothing else, for wrestling Will Ospreay. During the Forbidden Door pre-show, he was all like, see? He almost died, but he didn't actually die.
Now, I don't know if racialism can be tied into anything Dave does. Like, I don't know. I haven't picked up on that. But if you're looking at the star ratings and you're seeing this pattern, then that is, I mean, come on now. That's quite fucking condemning. But I'm trying to think, I don't even know. It's like, okay, when did a black wrestler wrestle a black wrestler? I was like, oh my God, this is one of the greatest matches of all time. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Just like if you're like, when did a white guy wrestle a white guy? I don't know, Andre and Hogan. I'm trying to think of when any match is exclusively one race, unless you go to Japan or Mexico or whatever. But let's let Alfred cook here. I guess we're trying to retire that word. Rock on. Let's let him rock and roll. And see if he makes a point here with this.
The 5-star style,
because it seems, I mean, if this is objective truth, goddamn, it's just like for white boy deathmatch shit and Joshi style wrestling. Okay, Dave, you've been exposed further. Now he's glazing lucha. Right? So, hey, maybe Alfred's exposing something here I didn't even pick up on.
Isn't that dangerous? Nobody needs to know what matches result in what rating. Dave Meltzer himself doesn't even know the difference between a 5-star match and a non-5-star match.
I was blown away to learn Kurt Angle's never had a 5-star match.
Yeah, but he's had tons of 4 3/4, which is basically the same thing. It's just
what? Yeah, but he's had a bunch of 4 3/4, which is basically the same thing, Ryan. Well, Giga Chad, actually.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
Then why do you give quarter stars then? Why do you give quarter stars then? Why is there such, how do you justify it? Okay, so then all the 4 3/4 stars are just 5 stars. Well, yeah, I mean, it was basically perfect. Well, then what is the difference between the quarter star? He just discredited his own shit right here in this moment.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's really just a bullshit rating that Dave Meltzer gives away based on personal preference to New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW, a New Japan copycat league created by matchmaker and longtime Wrestling Observer fanboy Tony Khan. Every generation, there's at least one wrestler who rises above all as the poster boy or poster Japanese girl for the 5-star match. Most 5-star merchants left standing are often unable to run in the ring, let alone walk. AEW Forbidden Door's main event was a depressing showcase of all the damage the 5-star matches caused across multiple generations. Will Ospreay, Dave Meltzer's current crush, bawled on his way to the ring because he knew he was going to have to go away for a year due to legit neck surgery. This was baked into the story of the match, as is the case with most star merchants like Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega, whose angles with Ospreay ironically centered around the Tiger Driver 91, a move where Ospreay literally dropped his opponent on their neck. 4 of the 5 babyfaces in the Forbidden...
It's the dumbest shit ever. Well, it's like working a shoot, man. No, it's stupid.
Door main event, including Ospreay and Omega, are in the top 10 for most 5-star matches ever. A list that starts with Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi was a standout wrestler in Japan. He cut his teeth in DDT before becoming a legend in New Japan Pro Wrestling alongside fellow Golden lover Kenny Omega. In fact, the only person who loves Ibushi more than Omega is Dave Meltzer. Meltzer showered Ibushi with 13
Golden showered Ibushi.
star matches, almost half of which were higher than 5 stars. This is being written before the star ratings for Forbidden Door come out, but given all the blood, injury, attempted assault, and adjacency to death You can safely add another 5-star match to Ibushi's resume, even at 43 years old and a broken down shell of his former self. Meltzerian prototypes like Blota Ibushi are often shoe-ins for an AEW contract. This has been the case with Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and Bryan Danielson, who has 11 5-star matches, all of which came with AEW.
All of Danielson's 5-star matches are during his time in AEW. Like, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist. It's just like, Dave, you're a fucking fraud, and these people listen to you, man, and these sickos listen to you, and they just end their careers early. Because it's just wanting 5 stars. It's what it is. I just pray to God Fletcher doesn't listen to all Dave's praise, and like Nathan Frazier doesn't, thank God. But even like Danielson, what can Danielson do that Nathan Frazier can't do but faster? Well, I'll tell you what, Danielson can connect with people and cut promos and make us care about him. And yes, his wrestling style has something to do with that. And yes, there needs to be guys like Abdullah the Butcher who carve their fucking head up, just to take it to that limit to elevate everyone else. Yes, but there can't be all of them, and not all of them are the greatest wrestlers of all time, and Kurt Angle never get a 5-star and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, not all of those things can be true at once, right? Like, Ospreay's not better than Kurt Angle in any generation, he can do backflips better than he can do front flips better. He can land on his neck and then no sell shit and then need neck surgeries. Kurt Angle needed neck surgeries. Wrestling at the highest level, drawing money, and also amateur wrestling, fucking actually Olympic wrestling for a gold medal, It's not doing flips on the indies and in Japan for Dave. That didn't help the wrestling business at all. Ospreay hasn't helped. Maybe he's helped people and get careers, but his style and shit, anybody, Seth Rollins right now could go to AEW and do, Nathan Frazier, if he wanted, could do all the shit Ospreay's doing, just faster. And I know I keep saying that, but it's like, we need to drive that point home. What can Kenny do? Okay, Seth could do all that if he wanted to. But instead, and people still give Seth shit. They're like, Seth fucking doesn't sell and stuff like that. And he does. Think about how much more he sells his ass off than like a fucking Ospreay. And Kenny, at least people shit on him for like the facials and the over dramatic, but at least he's fucking like, in between the moves, Kenny tries to put shit over. You can see I think WWE would do wonders for a Kenny Omega. But for Danielson, it's like, this is a critique of his early on in PWT. I always said he's done shit. Like, he's a guy that if left to his own devices, he'd do all that Mark shit. Like, I've seen it. If you've seen him wrestle on the indies and shit, like, dude. He is one of those Meltzer type dudes, and that's why he went to AEW. He's going to own the company one day. Why? Because his ideals align with Tony's very well.
Danielson returned to AEW.
And people are like, he won't own the company. Yes, Tony Khan said it. If he got hit by a bus tomorrow, Danielson would own the shit. He said that in a fucking press conference. So all I'm saying is that Danielson, I don't think he'll ever leave AEW. I think maybe he'll get inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame one day when he's old and gray and all that. But he's perfectly okay with these guys coming out here and doing this shit too. So is Tony Khan. And it's fucked up. And Danielson did it to himself. So why the fuck would he care if Kenny or Ospreay or Fletcher get dumped on their neck and have to fucking, he's like, that's awesome, bro. Anyway.
To announce overseas, because despite being one of the
put Shibata in there, even though people said his brain had to be taken out and put back in, according to Meltzer, the dumb fuck. But either way, he had such bad brain trauma. He comes to fucking America. They won't let him wrestle in Nuge. He comes to America, wrestles, and yeah, let's just put him on the pre-show against Garcia, the guy who, if he takes a bump one more time the wrong way, his brains might spill out of his ears. Yeah, like Danielson thinks that shit's awesome.
Best in the world, his 5-star style forced him into semi-retirement after his own history of serious head and neck injuries. Ibushi recently signed a 2-year deal with AEW despite looking washed during his original stint.
No, and fuck that, Alfred. He recently signed a 2-year deal. Yeah, dude, he re-upped his deal, and he's been on TV like once, and he's super washed. And he said in an interview, his feet get hurt. Like he fucking walks around, his legs just give out and shit. Like, come on, man. Tony's just signing these guys for like their past work. Why didn't Tony Khan just set up like a retirement wrestling fund and Hall of Fame and like a retirement thing for pro wrestlers and a Hall of Fame and like set up a dojo and put some of these legends in place to train people and then just run like a weekly indie show, pay-per-views once every 3 months. Super indie card with the best of the that would have been way better for the wrestling industry instead of him playing out his fantasy his toys. He's playing toys. He's playing his fucking toys, right? Like him imagining, oh, I got the ring and I got the entrance and, you know, like, come on. I got the ladder set where it dangles above the ring. There's a little string here. I rigged this up myself. Fuck.
With the company. A man once considered among the best in the world during New Japan's golden era can barely pull off a moonsault. So if you're one of these so-called best in the world prototypes, you better also have some of the best surgeons in the world. I'm at the end of my legs, and it could end at any time. I wanted to preserve the time I had left before I couldn't do it anymore. And that's why I was allowed to participate today. I'm really over the edge, but I want to finish contributing to the world of pro wrestling. So I'm participating in various events. Hiroshi Tanahashi, number 8 all-time on the 5-star glazing list, is a New Japan icon. When he returned to AEW on the Go Home Dynamite, he couldn't even run on his way to the ring during the melee. But he's washed. His high-fly flow was more of a high-fly flop that lacked explosiveness. But at least he won the gold medal that night for race walking. Tanahashi is currently on a retirement tour with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but his body retired years ago. Now president of New Japan Pro Wrestling in an era of declining business, New Japan's ticket sales are doing an impression of a 5-star merchant at the end of their career.
Yeah, dude, and they're partnered with AEW, and Tanahashi loves it. So until he's out of the way, I'm telling you, and I love Tanahashi-san, but like until he's out of the fucking way, dude, they're just gonna keep working with AEW, and you're gonna keep seeing these guys like limping down to the ring, and Tony giving, and Tanahashi doesn't care that Tony's gutted their fucking roster and will continue to do so. Tony's probably got him. He was paying Rita Chatterton, bro. He's probably got Tanahashi on like an AEW deal no one knows about or something. He just probably sends him fucking $500 a month and just like, I love you, and an I love you letter and a lollipop.
One babyface wrestler on Team Paralysis who wasn't a top 10 5-star merchant was Darby Allin. But that's because Allin has the least ring time of his teammates on Team Paralysis. Allin, who already has a 5-star match in his young career, is known for his death-defying stunts. Allin's reckless style is guaranteed to shorten his career. He admitted as much in an interview with the Wrestling Perspectives podcast. I'm all in or nothing, for the most part. And I always made a commitment to myself that I'd rather have a real short career and then just push it hard every day than just try to focus on outside projects when the time's up. As of right now, I feel like I'm just gonna keep going and going and going until my wheels fall off. If the Wrestling Observer newsletter was a Bible, which it is to some people depending on how many hairs are on your neck, the part about going until your wheels fall off would be the first verse. Meltzer 3:16. This balls-to-the-wall, career-shortening mission statement is the perfect mindset for the 5-star mentality, and that's what makes it so dangerous. Dave Meltzer often tries to save face by saying he doesn't approve of the reckless style conducive to the 5-star match. Dave wants you to believe that he often gives 5-star ratings to matches that he hates because of how
this is the biggest bullshit.
Dangerous they are.
Star ratings are largely based on movement of the crowd. Okay, then. Braun Breaker, Roman Reigns, 5 stars. Hogan Rock, 5 stars. I hate many matches I've given high grades to. No, you fucking don't. If it was based on my preference, it would be totally different. Not true. We've proven that. And we know this is false. And he doubles and triples and quadruples down on this is objective ratings. Like, this is him doubling down saying, no, these ratings are objectively of me observing, and this is what the best shit is. Trust me. He could have used this opportunity to go, star ratings are just what I love, man. But instead, so when anybody tries to say, when Ricochet or any of these wrestlers or any of these dumb fucks go, Sickos go, why do you care what Dave's ratings are? Because when you Google who's the top reporter, it's Dave Meltzer, comes up all the time. And people look at his star ratings as objective. How many kids grew up? How many Ospreys grew up looking at his fucking star ratings, thinking that that's real shit? And then they go and wrestle really fucking stupid, or they just go, Dave will cover me in this good light, and that's what I want. Like Britt Baker. Oh, I hope they give that 5 stars when she's fucking, they're picking thumbtacks out of her back. And it's like what he gives 5 stars to doesn't draw. It doesn't work. And it shortens fucking careers. It's not good, man. This is not a good influence. This is fucked up.
What? His mind telling him no, but his copy's telling him yes. I'm starting to get it. It's the newsletter that gives those 5-star ratings, not Dave the person. Dave Meltzer is full of shit. If he really cared about the levels of danger that wrestlers and secondary promotions are willing to stoop to, he would penalize dangerous spots through his ratings.
Exactly. Like when Ospreay takes a fucking, he does that spot where he's on the outside of the ring, and then they have him in the Doomsday device, right? Like the Road Warrior shit. And then someone does a dive and clotheslines him off. He's done that spot a couple times. Land on his neck. It's like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, Dave should especially when they fall and land on their neck. Oh, but it looked great. Yeah, because he really landed on his neck, bro. That's like saying that a superhuman juggalo, this is for the juggalos and juggalettes. That fucking guy, that's like saying it looked so great though. Look how he really landed in that cactus or whatever. Like it's mental illness, dude, to think what this guy. Well, look at the athleticism. Okay, that's fucking amazing. But like, okay, he's doing backflips. That's great. He's landing on his neck. That's amazing. Where's the psychology? Like, and then when he goes on to beg Will Ospreay, well, he could do the top guy speed. So then that means you agree that that you could rate that shit 5 stars. So then why do you not reward those matches with 5 stars unless it's the people you handpick? Because they listen to you. It's just biased media at its finest. It's just a guy who lives in a fucking bubble and he wants to control the narrative. He thinks he has influence and power over what we all do. Everyone hopes they do, fans. That's why fans flock to Twitter and we want this or whatever the fuck. And especially with wrestling where it's like one-to-one interaction with the fans. But Dave has this weird opportunity where he is literally influencing these wrestlers by giving them 5 stars, showing up at conventions, being blown by fucking the Young Bucks, and Tony Khan literally texting him and listening. Oh, I really pushed for this. What do you mean? You're texting Tony, telling him what to do? Like, it's sick, man, and it's fucked up, and it's horrible that this guy, and even back in the day, yes, Dave, maybe in the 80s and 90s, you praised some of these guys who did some crazier shit, and maybe, everyone said Flair went too fast, and fucking this guy, everyone said the Midnight Express went too fast, and but there is a line. We found the limit. The Bucks and all this garbage, that's the limit. People are rejecting it now overall. Back then, people were accepting more and more and more of the faster style and the Bret Harts and the new generation, right? People accepted that and we let it in, and the Daniel Bryans, we're willing to go Daniel Bryan far. We're willing to go that far. Some of us might even be willing to go Kenny Omega far. But like there is a limit now. We found it, Dave. So now adjust with the times and things go full circle. And we're starting to see that. But instead of being objective, he won't do that. He just, nope, I was right this whole time. And the faster, he just wants people to come out, sword fight, chop each other's heads off. That's what he wants. It won't be good until people come out and just fucking do a shooting star and Owen Hart themselves, right? Or Brock Lesnar themselves, but have it end fatally. Like, that's what he wants. He just wants that now. And if he got that, it'd be fine. And these sickos express it. They're like, we don't care about if AEW, whatever. If AEW went out of business, I'd just watch something else. Exactly. Then why are they catering directly to you fucking sickos? Same with Dave. If AEW went out of business, he would just go, oh, well, Nuge and CMLL are killing it, you know? He would just move on to the next thing and it would still be fed bad. And he'd be bitter about it forever. He'd be even more bitter towards WWE for putting AEW out of business.
Instead, he rewards them. Despite whatever this leather-faced carny says, Dave Meltzer wants wrestlers to risk their lives and careers to validate his imaginary star rating system. It's a fetish that's darker than anybody.
Right. And someone said in chat, Ricky Morton can still wrestle 40 years later. Exactly. So maybe back then Dave was right. That speed's okay. Maybe the Bret Hart speed's okay. He got concussed. That's hard. That's like the rest of your body can work fine, but then concussions can just take you out, man. And that's happened in a lot of sports. Okay, where the concussions, like your body might be able to go, but like your brain can't be shaking around in your head anymore, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like the HBKs, yep, for sure. Maybe some of that cruiserweight shit as well. Maybe in WCW 205 Live, maybe you're pushing it. You're like, damn, but at least these guys still know how to do like WWE style and they can keep each other safe. But there's a limit, man, and we found out what it is. Ospreay's not going to be able to wrestle when he's 65, nor do I need to see anybody wrestle when they're 65 or 70. But the fact Morton still can, that says something. Oh, well, the Bucks can still walk around and aren't injured. They weigh 85 pounds. Exactly. The cruiserweight style. Ospreay shouldn't be doing that style. Even Danielson. Danielson's a guy where he can wrestle heavyweights and you believe it. He's just at that perfect build and size and his style of wrestling. You're like, oh yeah, he could fucking, he understands enough of the grappling and the fucking his style of like, the fast paced dives, but he'll tie you up and he uses like, he's got high ring IQ and the kicks that chop you down and shit. Okay. He works. Bret Hart works. Shawn Michaels can wrestle Vader. That works. They understand the psychology. And Shawn Michaels too. We say he's like a little guy. He's not that lit. Like, I think Shawn was like, what, 6'1", 6 feet back in his day. Right. Even Sean Waltman's like 6 feet, 6'1". So like, guy. And that's the thing with Ospreay. You're like about 6 feet tall. You don't need to be doing this fucking break your neck style. We found out what the limit was. And also we found out that if you're a certain size, even like in Ibushi, he's in the Cruiserweight Classic, but he's a guy that could wrestle bigger dudes and it's believable in his prime for sure. The problem is that you fucking dove on your head and broke your legs a million times doing all these dives and shit. Like you fucked yourself up. You fucked your hips up doing this fucking style. And maybe at a certain, like maybe Bam Bam Bigelow doing moonsaults was an anomaly and not everyone should. And even him, he could barely pull it off and it fucked him up. Right? Like not everyone should be doing shit like that, man. Even though Dave claps like a seal for it, like, yes, we found the limit. If you're a small cruiserweight guy, do some shit like that. If you're like 5'10" and above, maybe, and you like have some muscle definition and you're still filling out, right? Like Ospreay was doing this dumb shit while he was still filling out like a fuck. And some people say, well, Ricochet. Well, Ricochet's not that big of a dude. Some guys are like AJ Styles. They could do that crazy shit and they're so graceful and they're outliers for sure. But we also learned from AJ, he doesn't give a fuck about 5-star being a 5-star merchant. Like we've seen it through his whole career. He teams up with Ric Flair. And he does the whole like I'm wearing robes and shit. And yes, I do this phenomenal stuff, but whatever. But some people are also anomalies, right? Like AJ Styles he's never really taken like a Jeff Hardy crazy bump. Like maybe he's jumped off the Ultimate X or something, but I don't think he's really done anything, right? And he's just so graceful. Like there's not many people like HBKs or AJ Styles. And even HBK fucking broke his back, hurt his back. You see the way he walks around now? His legs are all kind of stiff. Even him, man. And ultimately, man, like we found the limit. And now things are going back to where people want storytelling, good pacing, good action where it's warranted. Right? Okay, give us one big cage dive if you're Bronson Reed. Like maybe once a year you do something crazy like that, and even then he broke both of his fucking feet. And his legs will never be 100% again. Right? So it's like, just limit that stuff. You get more out of less, I promise you. Especially when you can do shit like Ospreay does. He has 18 amazing finishing moves. He does that shit where he like butterflies them up and then does that spinning fucking cutter or whatever. Dude, imagine just hitting that. That's like your super finisher on 2K. You hit that at the big event when you just absolutely can't put the guy away. You hit that move, and no, instead it's the tiger. Well, that's what I do with the tiger driver, bruv. Where I drop him on their necks after they kick out of every fucking thing else. No, dude, save some of those fucking moves. You'd go so much further. Well, I'm a millionaire now, bruv. I love what I do, bruv. Give me a fucking wheelchair. Oh, but me kids and me wife, bruv. And it's just better for them if I don't embrace the grind, bruv, and go to AEW. Okay, but how's it gonna be when you're in a fucking wheelchair because your legs don't work? She's doing this dumb shit. Then your wife and kids, what? Now you're not thinking about them at all. So I think pro wrestling is more about longevity than anything else. I digress. We're about halfway through this video, chat.
Realizes Mitsuharu Misawa once held the record for most 5-star ratings with 25 5-star matches. Misawa is arguably the greatest Japanese wrestler of all time, with main event runs in All Japan Pro Wrestling and as the founding father of Pro Wrestling Noah. Misawa checked all the boxes of the prototypical 5-star merchant: Japanese, hard-hitting, Japanese, physical, and Japanese. Anybody who had the pleasure of watching Misawa perform was subject to some of the most intense professional wrestling matches in the land of the rising sun. But on June 13th, 2009, Misawa took an errant back suplex from Akitoshi Saito. As Misawa lay motionless, a tag match scheduled for almost 40 minutes ended prematurely at around the 10-minute mark. Unfortunately, so did Misawa's life. The legend was pronounced dead later that night.
And then you have Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli dressing up like Misawa and Takada, I believe, right? And they were like redoing their spots and shit. And that's okay, like, to pay homage to these wrestlers. We should remember guys like this. And yes, this shit was super over then. This hard-hitting, literal life-ending style was super over and was working for these guys for sure. People don't want that in America. People don't want that in 2025. It's not working for AEW. I don't care that they tried it. I'm all open. Try it out. Didn't work, though. It's not working. Rhodes left. They tripled down on that style. Well, we're honoring Misawa. Okay, honor him by not fucking dying in the ring. Okay?
Misawa's death should have been a precautionary tale about 5-star wrestling and those inspired by it.
Instead, and this is why that shit was cool and worked, that hard-hitting style. And this is why it worked for Nuge when Nuge saw a surge and like the Bucks got popular and shit in the 2010s, because it was different. We didn't have access to New Japan World. Like, all of a sudden New Japan World came out, clips start going viral on Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and all the shit of New Japan stuff that people didn't have access to as easily, like in the early 2000s and shit, right? So in the 2010s, like, the network's a thing, and New Japan World's a thing, and people are, the internet's thriving. More people are on social media and shit, sharing clips, sharing video clips takes like 1 second, whereas before it didn't, right? You just share pictures. Memes became a thing, but then it was like video clips now, and GIFs are like, they're way more accessible and being shared around more and more and more. And so, to the point where now there's clip shows like mine, where we just pretty much like watch clips and react to shit and discuss stuff. And so the Nuge stuff was unique to us. We weren't seeing like hard-hitting wrestling really like that. Pile drivers were banned in WWE. Blood was entirely off the table. And in Nuge, we're seeing like fucking hard-hitting and good characters like Tanahashi and Okada and shit. Like, people who actually look like, holy fuck, man, these guys look like they could be in WWE and hold their own. And it's definitely, and then we saw sort of like, oh, this is what these guys could have been doing in WWE. And I'm not saying kicking people's heads off, but Shinsuke's fucking dope, and he's been dope in WWE. And people are like, oh, but look what he did in Nuge when he was like actually knocking people out with fucking knees. Yeah, bro, I know. In America, like, when that's on the grand scale, it just doesn't fucking work. I'm sorry. And in Nuge, that style is even fallen off a bit. The stuff that the Bucks sort of made popular, the AEW influence, because people would say as well that like New Japan, AEW is just like New Japan. Nah, dude, it's shittier. It's like its own thing. It's like the worst aspects of the Indies and the worst aspects of Nuge and the worst aspects of Lucha Libre, like all thrown into one fucking thing. That's how I look at it anyways. And so that's why this shit isn't as popular. Cause like, and then in the 80s, that's why that shit was popular, like Misawa and all that stuff. Cause again, everyone's seeing WWF and shit. Now we're seeing this like really hardcore frontier martial arts, this all Japan, and it worked for a long time. Just like the Attitude Era worked for a long time. Maybe not as long as some people wanted it to, but I mean, almost a decade's a long time. Right? Just like that indie riffic style worked for the indies and Nuge and all that shit for quite a while. Like damn near a decade, you know? Anyways.
Pro wrestling has only become riskier with every new generation of 5-star merchants, including the current poster boy, Will Ospreay. Especially Will Ospreay. Will is out indefinitely with another major neck injury. Ospreay was foisted onto Tony Khan by Dave Meltzer's comedic glazing of his matches, which have resulted in a hilarious 53 5-star ratings.
53.
That's almost 1/5.
53 5-star ratings for one guy. That's impossible. And this guy didn't draw. This guy's one of the most overpaid wrestlers by Tony Khan in the history. This guy didn't draw. Oh, he drew in the UK indie scene. He was a draw for New Japan. I mean, come on. No, dude, if you removed him from he was on the decline of New Japan is when he was really the top prominent guy. When he was in like that main fucking scene, the main event scene after the Okadas and everyone had their runs, dude. That's when Ospreay was like when Nuge started getting on the decline. And now look where it's at. Just being honest, man. Oh, well, he helped draw houses for TNA and shit. Sure. He became like an indie attraction. But I'm telling you, man, like this guy, 53. So he's the greatest wrestler who's ever lived ever in the history, according to me, because it's objective. I give matches I hate great stars and matches I like lower stars. So this guy's objectively the greatest of all time. What records has he set? Well, I mean, Wembley, he's a big part of the All In Wembley attendances, Brian. Phil. What the fuck, man? What has any of that amounted to? Okay, he drew some good he helped draw some good houses when there's a million other guys, when there's Bobby Lashley and fucking Omega and you have Edge and all these ex-WWE guys. Okay, he's drawn some houses. Oh, and Nuge. Okay, so in an era where it's like Okada and Omega and the Bucks are in Hot Topic and fucking you have Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles floating over there and he's on these big shows. Is he the guy who drew these houses or was he there during the decline and jumped off the fucking New Japan ship to come to AEW when it's doing some of its worst business? That's the way I view it. That's the way other people view it. Just observing and being objective. Fucking Dave.
Area's 53 5-star ratings. That's almost 1/5 of every 5-star match to ever exist. But much like last generation's
almost
Meltzer,
a fifth of every 5-star match of all time went to him.
Kenny Omega, Ospreay has spent just as much time off AEW TV with serious injury as he has on TV without one. Will Ospreay is clearly on borrowed time, but Meltzer continues to desperately fantasy book his golden bird into an AEW world title win.
Just the way they did that angle, I just thought that
and not even just a world title win, but like as he thinks this guy will save Dave Schilling. And this is the thing, Dave Schilling used to affect stuff, doesn't anymore. People see through the bullshit and he's spurging out and he wants to see Ospreay like, oh, they conquered WWE.
AEW world title win.
Just the way they did that angle, I just thought that they really have a shot if he can come back and be Will Ospreay or even 70% of Will Ospreay.
Despite
30% off. Do you see how Alfred put that in there? Even 70%. I mean, 30% less of Ospreay. Did I not call out the fucking guys? Phil's the GOAT. I'm sorry. Meltzer said, what is the GOAT? But your boy Phil's the GOAT, man. Did I not call out that 30%? And that shit's caught on like wildfire because it's true. You can track it. Dave has this weird 30% thing. I already roasted when Dave said this, by the way, but boom, a 30% off sticker. It's just catching on because it's true. It's fucking true, dude. For some reason, even if he's 30% less Ospreay, What the fuck does that even mean? So he just does one less Oz cutter or whatever? Like, what does that? He does one less dive to the outside. What does that mean? Dave means, oh, if he works a slower style, I mean, he could still be world champion and do great things. Or now you're begging him to, he just better come back because I stack chips on this forever and his career might be over and I'm going to look fucking stupid. That's what it is for Dave. It's nothing to do with Will. He doesn't care about Will. Will, I care about you way more, bruv. I do. I make fun of you because I'm busting your balls. We roast the ones we love. Dude, I care way more about you than Dave. Okay? Dave is fucking begging you to work a safer style now so you don't die in the ring. Why? It's to prove himself right. It has nothing to do with you. So that he doesn't look stupid after he gave you all the stars in the world and then you fucking end up paralyzed.
All the imaginary star ratings Ospreay has compiled in his time with AEW, Will Ospreay has not been anything close to a draw for the promotion in real life. In ring, especially when healthy, he's out of this world. He's pretty good even when he's not healthy because AEW kind of turns a blind eye to health issues when there's a 5-star match on the line. Either way, Ospreay is constantly dealing with injury, and not just nagging injuries that come with the territory of being a wrestler. Will Ospreay is the poster boy for 5-star matches, and he's also the poster boy for the type of career-threatening injuries that are guaranteed when you spend a career impressing a 65-year-old man. With 0 AEW world titles to his name, Ospreay's current sample size in Jacksonville puts him closer to a flop than a savior despite all that talent. Dave Meltzer would look like a fool if his favorite wrestler flamed out of his favorite promotion, which is in the range of outcomes based on how his neck surgery goes. Will Ospreay is so synonymous with Dave Meltzer, it's the most common question he gets.
Do you think you're as good as he thinks you are?
No, because like when you talk about guys,
even Ospreay disagrees with Dave about how Dave views him.
The best
even
guy is
Ospreay.
Tony Khan.
Fucking madness. Now here's the problem. We brought up Tony Khan, right?
Great.
Or at least Dave did. Tony is an observer, 5-star guy, and the wrestlers know that that's what Tony wants to see too. And this is where it gets dangerous. Meltzer influenced some nerdy fucking message board billionaire kid. And now this guy has control of a bunch of money, and his dad's like, fuck, I fucked up. How many rich parents fuck up raising their kids? There's a babillion stories of it, okay? This is another one. He fucked up, gives his son whatever, silver spoon up his ass. Now he's got this wrestling company, and now this is what Tony wants. And you get a paycheck now if you do this dumb Ospreay shit. And the 5 stars and all the fucking media that are trying to work their way into getting jobs in AEW. You get them glazing you and putting you over and covering you favorably. It's fucked up, man. It's really fucked up.
like Kurt Angle, and he hasn't got one 5-star match. I'm nowhere near the level of what Kurt Angle is.
As we sit here right now, you have 25.
And this is all you have to say, and Ospreay knows this. Can Ospreay cut a promo as good as Kurt? No. Has he wrestled the magnitude of legends Kurt has on the magnitude of stages and drawn as much money and interest and had as big of bouts that will go down in the history? No. So then right there alone, Dave, it cannot be 5 stars. It can't be the greatest wrestling match of all time. If a fucking tree falls in the woods, Dave, like
5-star Dave Meltzer matches. And you're at some point, probably this year, going to break that record and have the most 5-star matches. Do 5-star match ratings matter to you?
They don't matter in terms of my financial gain.
You now have
yes, they do, though. That's the problem. Yes, they do. Dave affects how people get jobs. This is one of the things I point out that I've had wrestlers thank me for publicly on this show and privately, that Dave does affect how people get paid, and especially when it comes to Tony Khan. Because what he likes is what Tony likes. They text, Dave can push. I really pushed for this. Even Brian's calling it out. Brian's like, Dave, you and Tony are having these conversations. Like, we don't know this. Explain this on TV. Dave's like, yeah, well, so yes, it does affect how people get paid, man. 100% it does.
47.
48.
Is this wild to you? I don't look at it. I do not look at it. It generally makes like no difference, right?
Meltzer.
And he has to. So, and even though Will Ospreay's basically burying Dave, and he's like, I don't look at it, but he almost has to say that because he knows that his fans are observer fans mostly. He knows that shit. And he knows if he's like, no, he just goes, I don't look at it. I don't pay mind to it, whatever. It doesn't affect anything I do. But realistically, it does. And he knows that and he can't denounce it because if he does, then a bunch of people might start going, well, fuck Ospreay and stuff, you know? That's the way this fucking works.
His love for Ospreay outshines Will's wrestling career in all of his matches, especially to the casual fan. Dave's in too deep. 53 five-star matches deep to be exact. So he'll just have to keep forcing the Ospreay narrative no matter how grim Ospreay's career outlook gets. The smartest person on the top 10 five-star list is Kazuchika Okada. A once record-breaking star rating fiend, Okada is widely considered the greatest New Japan wrestler of all time. But after securing that bag with AEW, Okada does next to nothing in his matches now that he's been paid by Tony Khan. As I've stated in previous videos, I fully support this. It's unclear whether Okada is physically washed or just uninterested in giving his body to the
He has the best pay-per-view matches. He's just not going to he's just not going to fucking hurt himself in this mark-ass company. I actually applaud Okada. I'm not like, is he kind of ruining the whole beach thing? Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe when he returns to like babyface Rainmaker, it'll work. Maybe he's just like, I can ride out this deal and then go do a one-off in WWE. Because by all accounts, Okada like really, he loves WWE and he wants a Mania moment. Like that's something in his mind. Like I want to wrestle at WrestleMania, but then Tony offers you ungodly money. But I could see Okada going, okay, let's say he signed 4 years or whatever with Tony, 3 years. What Tony does with some of these bigger names, he'll throw a lot of money and go 3 years, you know, 1 to 2 to 3 million minimum, but the third year's an option. And usually they pick it up because why wouldn't you? 3 million this year to fucking, right? So maybe Okada's like, I could do 3 years here, get more money than fucking, you know, and then get like all my retirement, whatever money, and then just go to WWE and maybe do a year there or something. You know, I bet WWE would be open to that as well. So, and Okada, I don't think he's washed. I just don't think he's willing to hurt himself doing any of this dumb shit, you know?
Pentagram gods. What's important is the Rainmaker realizes that this deadly style is unsustainable. Dave Meltzer has no time for the countless physical injuries caused by star chasing. He's already moved on to his next generation of five-star merchants. This includes totally drug-tested Kyle Fletcher, who is quietly developing a reputation for dangerous spots. Konosuke Takeshita's recent G1 win certainly took years off his career. Takeshita.
Well, it's just, well, yeah, the G1, I mean, Takeshita went all out by all accounts, but Takeshita, like what Dave's trying to do is him and Tony Khan's mind, Takeshita is like the next Okada, and like the way they view him is he's like Omega and Okada in one, okay? And this is what I've heard. And Fletcher is like, you know, the next Ospreay type guy, like an Ibushi and Ospreay sort of combined into one. Right? And they want Fletcher and Takeshita. I mean, these are two guys I would fucking bank on and want to develop as well. They have size. Like Alfred just made the joke. Fletcher's totally drug tested. There's no drug testing in AEW. But he's fucking getting jacked up, man. And he is known for some of these dangerous spots. Some of these matches, like the shit he did with Hangman, is like, it's fucking stupid. He doesn't need to be fucking doing this shit. It's not how you get over. And I'm glad that he's like, oh, I love The Miz. We covered it earlier in the show. Fletcher's like, I love The Miz and shit. And I want to hear more of that. And I hope he's not, you know, I hope like Takeshita doesn't look at Omega and these guys and go, I got to do what they did. And I hope that Fletcher doesn't look at Ospreay and Ibushi and go, I got to do what they did to get over. And unfortunately, we're seeing that is kind of the direction they're going. Because one money mark will pay them. And like now they have to live with, oh, I got to get paid less to go to WWE up front. And I got to work maybe more. And I got to really earn my stripes and start from the ground up again. Or do I just stay with Tony Khan and make this amount of money for as long as they have me. You know, it's like it puts them in a shitty spot that they shouldn't be in this stage in their careers.
Has become a breakout star in AEW, which is like having a viral video on MySpace. As part of his breakout year,
Jay White also injured. Yeah, I doubt Alfred will bring that up. Jay White also really hurt. You know, hurt badly, man.
Earned his biggest career highlight with a G1 win. Of course, it came at a price. Clearly worn down after the grueling G1 schedule, Takeshita was knocked out during a G1 match against Zack Sabre Jr.
He got knocked out against Sabre Jr., another guy, as New Japan's plummeting. And Sabre doesn't even do that dumb of shit, but his strikes, he lays them in, and he does all those submissions. And his strong style is like, I'm going to fucking kick you in the head and shit for a shoot. It's kind of dumb. I like ZSJ. Tony loves ZSJ. So does Dave. And the thing with ZSJ is that, again, when Nuge is on the decline, who's the two top guy? It's him and Ospreay. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying.
After suffering an obvious head injury, Takeshita was loaded onto a...
And Gabe Kidd said, fuck this, I'm not doing the G1 because it's so grueling. What's expected of you is so fucking grueling that Gabe Kidd said, fuck this, but then he's on AEW TV. And Yota Tsuji, one of their top guys, ain't in it either because he ain't trying to get hurt like that either. I think he got fucked up in his first match. He like missed 2 of them or something. And he's just like out of it or so. I can't remember.
Slain like cattle and shipped to America to wrestle fellow 5-star merchant Tomohiro Ishii, who unsurprisingly can barely walk.
The problem is that Ishii can't do a run-in, so he just did a walk-in that lasted a long time.
No.
He just did a walk-in that lasted a long time, Brian. This is the same guy that this year, the fucking sickos, Dave and Brian, all are like, man, Ishii's so good. He's so fucking good. He just, every match, he's just unreal, like, to this day. And you had Dave going, he can't even walk. He's, you know, or he can't even run. He has to do a slow walk-in.
Fellow 5-star merchant Tomohiro Ishii, who unsurprisingly can barely walk.
The problem is that Ishii can't do a run-in, so he just did a walk-in that lasted a long time.
Meltzer has a rule where he never watches a WWE match after watching a G1 match, I guess because he likes to save the death for last. It's easy to dismiss any serious injury in wrestling because that's just the name of the game. There are plenty of WWE stars who wrestled a watered-down style that still required surgery. But that's a cop-out. It's bullshit whataboutism that distracts from an obvious trend when it comes to a certain style of match. Hulk Hogan didn't take any major risks in most of his WWE matches, but if he did things differently, he wouldn't have used the leg drop as his finisher. I'm sure a lot of 5-star merchants wake up in the morning and after taking 2.5 hours to get out of bed, maybe they wish they would have wrestled more like New Japan Hulk Hogan. And while injuries are common in wrestling, serious injuries are far more common among those who lust after the incel immortality that comes with getting a silly-ass gold star in a newsletter. Very few, if any, perennial 5-star wrestler is included in the discussion of wrestling's biggest draws, which is the most important aspect of wrestling.
Exactly.
That's why they call it the wrestling business.
Why do I care if they make money? Listen, bro, the whole point of pro wrestling, when people go real wrestling shit, the whole point of pro wrestling is just working marks into paying to see a fucking fight. That's what it's all about. Okay. And it's evolved in many ways over the year, but at its core, that's what it is. So whoever's the top draw, they got to be whatever match people are willing to pay the most to fucking see, that's got to be the best shit. At the end of the day, like Dave Meltzer said from his own chicken lips, at the end of the day, it's about drawing money, Brian. It's not about anything else. So there you go.
Friend of the show, cousin Phil Brooks said it best.
If you're more happy with some goof saying that you had a 5-star match and the building's a quarter full, we're not in the same business.
Check out this video and subscribe. Do 5-star ratings still matter? Tell me in the comments.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for a friend of the show, Alfred Konuwa. And that was a very special and dangerous Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.